Putting it in a context, if we had this technology today, imagine how quickly we could get supplies where they're needed for natural disasters,
You have it
delivering
already.
directly to neighborhood.
You have it already. How freaking long are we going to wait? This is so dumbed down. Like I said, I on the surface, I like this. But I go, they had this stuff already. What's going on? Well, here we are. Partial disclosure has begun. Yes, partial disclosure has begun. Tom DeLonge comes out with his To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. It only took him about 5 to 6 months. Now that's pretty typical of a musician because I know I've been in a band. You say you're going to do something, it takes about 6 months later to come out. What was the real reason? You probably just couldn't get the people together and waiting for the okay. Of course, you had to get the okay, the green light from the government to do this. Now what's really interesting about this broadcast is, in a nutshell, it almost doesn't even bring the UFO thing out. It does, because there's really good spots in it, and I found myself going up and down with it. I was like, yes, that's right, you know? And then later on, there's a dive, because it's like, I know I'm getting fed bullshit, and this is how the partial disclosure is going to come out. They only want to tell you a little bit, release it, and then do it on their terms. Now, how is this done on their terms? Tom DeLonge goes through, and we'll go through the video later, basically about how the Department of Defense is good guys. You know, they're watching out for our greater interest, and you'll see why they didn't release stuff. And he kind of plays into that, the evil alien side, which I do believe there's different groups and all that stuff, and there's different agendas. But now is the government going to use Tom DeLonge as the disclosure candidate that's going to bring in the war propaganda? So you got to watch out for that. So basically, he's going to have this thing broken up into 3 sections: aerospace, science, and of course, entertainment. You got to have the entertainment for the millennials. So they're going to collect facts and analyze. This is okay. So this is what I got a problem with. It feels like, and like I said, we'll go through the video. This is what I have a problem with. It feels like it's starting over. Now, if anybody watched the Stephen Greer 2001 press briefing, this feels just like that. He came out on stage, except this actually felt downscaled compared to Stephen Greer's, because Greer had all these people on. He said, boom, UFOs are real. We can prove this stuff. Boom. This actually felt like even softer than that. And this is 16 years later than Stephen Greer. So it's like, this is less hard hitting. And it leaves you like, what the fuck just happened? You know, it goes back and forth. So now they want to collect facts about this is what it's called now. It's not called UFOs anymore. It's called unidentified aerial phenomenon. So now you can see them backing away from UFO because that has a lot of bad stigma with it. You know, everybody labeled people as kooks who believes in UFOs. Now we're going to call it unidentified aerial phenomenon. Doesn't that seem like a more catchy term? Now everybody's going to feel like they're a little more trendy in there. So now they're going to start over. This is what really pissed me off about it. So you got this stuff in these government projects that's already been, you know, they had the UFOs, the crashed UFOs. They analyzed them. They back engineered them. They released, or they had the systems for them. And now his thing, it's starting over. Okay, now we're saying unidentified aerial phenomenon. Now they want, this is what it is. His academy, his To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. They're going to collect the facts. They're going to release government footage. Then they're going to develop an app. They're going to use this to help document events as they happen. So basically kind of like a modern day Project Blue Book, except now it's going to be everybody, because everybody's got a cell phone. They can tap into that and share their experience. And at one point, that left me feeling bad. Tom brags about going to Lockheed Martin, having to go through these like secure hallways to meet up with these officials. And yes, I believe Tom is being used. They kind of played into his ego to get him to do this, and you can see it. Like Grant Cameron said, you know, make the guy think that he's been anointed to bring this out to the public. So he feels like he's like some great messiah. There's probably going to be a lot of profit in this project. Let's just say that for sure. At one point, they were talking about the USS Nimitz and how that had a UFO encounter. And now Congress has the authority to review the case. So they're coming out and saying, hey, you have the right to review this. And like I said, this whole thing feels like it's just like a soft, like, okay, now you have the right to dig into this. Yes, this stuff's real. And the best speaker I thought was Luis Elizondo, and he was a career intelligence officer in the U.S. Army, the Department of Defense, and a national counterintelligence executive. Now, he managed the security for certain sensitive portfolios of the government. And this is the biggest thing right here. Lewis also ran a sensitive aerospace threat identification program focusing on unidentified aerial technologies. So he was the guy that saw this stuff in the air. His job was to analyze it and, see if there was any threat. And he comes out and actually says in the video, we're going to release never before released footage from the government systems, not blurry footage. So that's one of the things I like about when this guy came on and said that. I like that. And like I said, it was just this up and down, up and down, up and down. And then it goes back. The third speaker, Steve Justice, he said, I want to figure out what these technologies are, and I want to build that. It's like, come on, guys, you did this already. So now we're going to backpedal to bring the public to where Stephen Greer was back in 2001, 16 years ago. So now we're starting back over. How long is this going to take? Am I going to see this before I die? Cripes. But of course, the main takeaway is we want you to invest. You got to invest in this To the Stars Academy. They got currently, as I'm recording this, 533 investors, 265,000 amount raised. And if you believe that they need the public to help fund them, I got news for you. There's big backers that could give them $1 million, $2 million. And they probably actually do have that, and they're not going to show it on here. It's like this is just a way of getting the public to think that they have a say in this technology coming out, which is fucking all BS. They already have this stuff. Now we got to go back and backpedal this stuff. Let's go ahead and we'll watch a few clips here. Obviously, I won't play the whole thing. It's about 40 minutes. I encourage you to watch it yourself, make your own assumptions. We're going to analyze some parts here and go through it. So the first one, let's watch the beginning here. And now this is where Tom does the intro. He basically says, he presents it as something deeper. And this is where I think it kind of gets into the negative thing. And they're going to start trying to push that, get this out so they can start pushing maybe a war and bring that interplanetary war.
Early this year, I set out to do something pretty challenging. I wanted to shift perception on an extraordinary topic that had already over 70 years of research, opinion, and frankly, quite effective disinformation. I had the rare opportunity to present my ideas to an executive with the Department of Defense who worked in special access programs in an area called Watertown.
See, he was privileged to present his findings to a guy in Area 51. I think the guy in Area 51 probably knows more than you, Tom. Just saying.
Also known as Area 51. That meeting led to multiple clandestine encounters across the United States, from desert airports to vacant buildings deep within Washington, D.C. From these exchanges, I learned three things. One, there are certain things that should never have been secret. Two, there are secrets that were justifiable at the time but should now be disclosed. And three, there are things that are so unimaginable that certain interests believe that they should never, ever be made public. After this, you might even agree.
So he leaves that doubt in there. To me, what I read into that is that they're going to push the negative alien thing later on and start that interplanetary war bullshit. Stephen Greer's been warning about this, and now we're starting to see it here. I'm not saying I agree with Stephen Greer about all aliens being good either, but this is what he was warning about. So again, right here, we're going to listen in on Tom and listen to, this is basically stroking his ego. I want you to really pay attention to this.
And in a certain agency, the conversation put me in my place fast. It was the first time I really digested the enormity of the national security implications of the UFO subject. His words were, and I remember this sitting in the small room, when your book came out, there were calls coming in from everywhere. You know things you shouldn't know, and I need to know who the hell you are.
See right there. See how that played right into his ego? A government agent comes in, tells him, hey, you know things you shouldn't know. And I want to know who the hell you are. Just, it boosts him. You can see DeLonge's body language too, how he actually feels like he's on top of the world and he's like above government people.
And 2 days later, I believe he realized the same thing that all the generals did that I was meeting with. I was respectful. I humbled by the opportunity. I did everything I said I was going to do. And I was also an advocate for men and women in uniform. Now, back to that Wall Street Journal article. That article lured some very important people out of the shadows. Principal players with the highest credentials and resumes. A strategy was developed that I really think can achieve the impossible. You must first understand that the Department of Defense has a culture of secrecy, not out of disdain or distrust for its citizens, but because it's appropriate to protect the lives of its people, technologies, and methods. Like my own brother, who's spent a career in the Special Forces. It's not in their job description to help you and me understand the universe, past events, or why certain actions were taken on the UFO phenomenon 70 plus years ago. They were too busy actually dealing with it.
See how it backpedals? Oh, you can't blame them for not releasing the UFO information. You can tell this is scripted by the government. They're using him as a patsy to put the information out there the way they want. So how is he going to bring this technology out through to the Stars Academy? What's his plan? Let's see his breakdown.
Perpetual funding machine that can continuously attack those three things: aerospace, science, and entertainment. Again, some important stories to tell, a need to learn more, and a plan to engineer the technology observed. This is why I am here. This is why they are here. We're going to bring it to the world. And we're going to show you today how we aim to achieve this.
See, his
we have
ego
a plan
stroked.
To bring the unimaginable, the stuff of dreams, to the world.
Look at his body language.
To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science aims to communicate historic events and forward-thinking ideas through motion picture, and include you on ongoing scientific discovery, and build an exotic craft with an energy source that can revolutionize the world. And I
Sounds good on the
would
surface.
like you to help us push humanity over an invisible boundary that seems to confine us, forcing us to make the same mistakes over and over again. And now, let me introduce you to our team and how...
Same mistakes over and over. How about the mistakes of the government keeping all this stuff quiet and not releasing it to the public? Instead, we got to go back and start over, apparently, because that's what this whole thing is. Start over. Now we're gonna research it. Now we're gonna develop it. Now we're gonna... How long is this gonna take? 50 fucking years? Or they wanted to do 100 years disclosure? Cripes. Let's go to the first guy. This is Chris Mullen. And now he goes through on how, like, Sputnik, the satellite that Russia launched, the whole point is having a public outcry to bring this stuff out. Now that's what they want to drive here, is get the public to demand that this stuff comes out. The UFO community has been doing this for how freaking long? Now it's like, okay, now we got to redo all this stuff. Stephen Greer did this back in 2001. This is the exact same script. Except, like I said, this is less hardcore than Stephen Greer's.
Space exploration seized the public's imagination, and we elected to reach for the moon. Sputnik was an unwelcome shot across the bow, but it sparked a boom in science and engineering, and enrollment in science and engineering courses surged. At the same time, the public devoured fiction and nonfiction books, TV shows, and movies on space exploration, using those mediums to process the ramifications of the space age.
Using movies to bring it out. That's what their plan is.
Imagine for a moment that Sputnik had remained a secret, known only to the Soviet Union and perhaps a small group at CIA. there would have been no public outcry or debate. This great boost to space exploration would not have occurred if the public had remained ignorant of Sputnik due to excessive secrecy. It will undoubtedly surprise the public to learn that we find ourselves once again in a race for technological innovation.
Even though they had
Permit
it.
me to tell you a story in the hope of making this clear.
Okay, now here's the
We are
good story.
presently standing within 10 miles of the home port of the USS Nimitz, a $5 billion warship with a crew of thousands. It is one of the premier assets in the U.S. Navy. Envision the Nimitz operating off the coast of San Diego on a brilliant sunny day, escorted by the USS Princeton, an Aegis-class cruiser that protects carrier battle groups by employing the most sophisticated naval air defense system in the world. Imagine these ships engaging in a routine training exercise when an unidentified aircraft with a small radar cross-section appears on the Princeton's radar, heading directly towards the battle group. The aircraft has no transponder and does not respond to radio calls. The Princeton hurriedly contacts two F-18s already aloft to intercept the target. As the two F-18s approach, the four aviators see that the object has no wings or exhaust. It is white, oblong, some 40 feet long and perhaps 12 feet thick.
Now this is, you can see how, this was back in 2004. This stuff happened way before then. They're just spoon feeding the public now with this little story and trying to bring it to awareness. And it's just like, this is such a slow fucking disclosure. It's like starting back over, and that's what pisses me off about this whole thing. It's like starting over. Even though they had this stuff, you can conservatively say by the 1960s, they had their own stuff developed and used. 1947 was Roswell, and I'm sure there was some crashes before then, you know, that Hitler had this stuff reverse engineered. And now it's like starting over, and then they're basically saying, oh, we see a UFO, we got to figure out how to develop that, even though we actually have it already. So this is just like a kick in your fucking face about the slow bullshit.
One pilot pursues the craft while his wingman stays high. The pilots are astonished to see the object suddenly reorient itself toward the approaching F-18. In a series of discrete tumbling maneuvers that seem to defy the laws of physics, the object takes a position directly behind the approaching F-18. The pilots capture gun camera footage and infrared imagery of the object, but are outmatched by a technology they've never seen. Fearful for their safety and running low on fuel, both F-18s return to the Nimitz. Yet the strange object remains in the vicinity of the Nimitz for hours, monitored by the USS Princeton and radar aboard a Navy E-2 Hawkeye aircraft. At one point, the object soars to 80,000 feet, hovers, then drops at supersonic speeds, coming to a full stop a mere 50 feet above the ocean, where it resumes hovering. More F-18s are dispatched, but with similar results. As before, the engagement occurs in broad daylight, and the secret machine easily evades the F-18s.
Now here he's going to go into, these are credible people, they're credible witnesses, you know, they're not hopped up on drugs, and therefore their testimony is accurate. These people ain't insane, they're not kooks.
Bear in mind that naval aviators are the finest observers possible. All have top secret clearances, all are drug tested, are ardent patriots, have excellent vision, and understand aeronautics and aviation. Clearly, this is not an experimental U.S. aircraft.
Clearly. See, this is what we had back in 2001 with Stephen Greer's disclosure. And now, here it is again. It's like, what's going on here? I'm in the Twilight Zone. It's like history is repeating itself. Now it's just because... Ugh! Are we going to see this stuff come out this lifetime, or we're going to have to die a few more times and come back to the planet before we see something change?
But whose is it? How did it accomplish these feats? This story may sound like a sci-fi movie, but it is a true story.
Whose is it?
And far from being the only one of its kind.
They don't want to say E.T. on here.
I've met with one of the pilots and confirmed the account, as have other members of the To the Stars Academy team. But the real beauty of this story is that you don't have to take my word for it, or even that of the Navy officer who described these events in an article you can find on the web by searching on Nimitz UFOs 2004 There I Was. Better yet, the U.S. government itself can verify the events involving the USS Nimitz on November 14, 2004. So the key to revealing whether or not there are advanced vehicles with capabilities far beyond anything made in America is now in the hands of the press and the public.
Oh, it's now available. They're so generous to give it to us finally after a long fucking time. Now they're gonna say we have access to this, and the U.S. government can verify itself. Congress has every right to look at this stuff. Oh, since when? So now they're gonna let us do it. Now you got to ask the question, why? Why are they letting us have this stuff? Why does it benefit them? Do they want to bring in this interplanetary war to keep on going with this arms race, whatever? It's just, you got to ask yourself.
Chairman of the Armed Services Committee and his counterparts on other congressional oversight committees can easily request a briefing to confirm the veracity of this story and the existence of other events of a similar nature. Congress has every right to review the documents generated by this event and request briefings by the military personnel involved.
Stephen Greer only did that before. He says, they had all these witnesses come in 2001. I will swear on the Bible in front of Congress, everything I said is the truth. That was 16 years ago. It is now 2017. And now we have a repeat. And now we're going to do the same thing over. And now it's going to be at their discretion what they want to have released.
If the oversight committees have not already been briefed on this event and others like it, they clearly should be. How else can they adequately assess threats to our forces and our military requirements?
There it is. How can they assess threats to us?
There is nothing to prove here. These are just facts that need to be properly evaluated. Without the facts, neither Congress nor our democracy can function effectively. Once the truth is known, some anxieties will certainly be raised, but imaginations will also be fired. A renewed interest in space and science will inevitably result, and our government and society will respond. But we can only rise to the challenge once the public becomes aware a problem exists. Casting our eyes skyward again,
a problem
to the
exists.
stars is a constructive and unifying proposition for mankind at a time of growing disarray. We are a corporation with a public purpose, and we are all about combining the light of reason and passion of art to stimulate new thinking and discoveries. To the Stars Academy provides an opportunity to embark on an unprecedented journey of storytelling, exploration, and innovation. This is more than a commercial venture. It is an intellectual adventure. We hope you all will join us.
Woo!
Thank you.
Woo! Yeah! Yeah! It's only been how many fucking years? Do the math. If you go back to 1960s to now, holy shit. Now they're finally going to let us have it? Oh, that's right. You can't have the whole picture. We'll let you see what we want you to see. We want to keep weaponization and say that there's a big threat out there, even though if the aliens really wanted to come and completely kill us, they would have done it by now. Granted, I do believe there's some small factions that are against us, but it's not full-blown like they're trying to push here. So let's move on to Lewis. This is my favorite guy of the presentation. He is by far the most mind-blowing, but I will say that this is not like Stephen Greer's again. I keep repeating myself, but it's true. This is a washed-down version of what we had back in 2001. Because they don't want to say UFO. That's one thing I've noticed. They don't want to say UFO on this video. And at the end, like I said, it kept me mind-boggled. Like, what the hell just happened? It feels like they were saying aliens are here, but they weren't. And it's like, it gets you in that imbalance of what the fuck? Let's listen to Lewis. He's a little more on board.
By far the most interesting effort I was involved with was the topic of advanced aerial threats. For nearly the last decade, I ran a sensitive aerospace threat identification program focusing on unidentified aerial technologies. It was in this position I learned that the phenomenon is indeed real.
Phenomenon. So you can't say that indeed aliens are here, they've been visiting us. See, they don't want to push that out yet. They want to say, indeed, the phenomenon is real. There's aerial stuff up there. We don't know what it is. We're not going to say it's alien, but they're saying that, but they're not saying that.
And now, as a member of To the Stars Academy, we will bring our observations to you. For starters, To the Stars Academy is planning exciting new tools and capabilities that allow you and others to effectively take part of what we're doing. We will allow you to detect, analyze, categorize, and yes, even engineer
You guys will let me
technologies that have remained elusive until now.
do that? Really?
One of the many ways we seek to accomplish this is through a community of interest, a virtual environment of sorts.
Oh, yes.
This virtual environment provides a platform for the detection and triangulation of phenomena events in real time and allows two-way communication between the public and our team regarding this information.
That's basically their 21st century blue book. You report something, put it in the app, boom, then they're just going to start categorizing this stuff. This is, like I said, this is starting over. You had the blue book before, but now they're going to let the public do the blue book. Bring that in. All right, all you guys can participate, have fun, and then we'll start studying it, and then maybe you'll start seeing some of this stuff appear in 2050 or however long it takes. They want, if it's going to be 100 years, even longer, great. Maybe I'll see something before I'm in my grave. In the meantime, make sure you push those fucking carbon taxes up my ass, because I love being charged and fucked in the ass by the government.
My job will be to work as a liaison and an interlocutor in the collection of this information for the Science Division, allowing us to collect facts for analysis. We are also planning to provide never-before-released footage from real U.S. government systems, not blurry amateur photos, but real data and real videos.
Really? So you're retired, but the government's going to let you release those now. Interesting. On their watch. Even though we've known about this stuff for how long? Not blurry now. So hats off to that. I will say, good. We need some more better footage. We've always said that on this show. We need the clear footage of the 4K stuff that you can see. So that's good, but who's to gain off of this? You got to ask yourself that question. Who's to gain?
And we're inviting our government colleagues and friends in defense to participate regularly with their own findings. Another To the Stars Academy objective is the development of an app that allows you to help us, quote unquote, crowd crunch the data. Anyone with a cell phone could be alerted to an event occurring in their area. In essence, making them a virtual contributor with millions of people documenting events as they actually happen, allowing us to cross over a new threshold of understanding.
You mean I get to participate? Yeah. This stuff should have, I see what they're doing. This should have been done earlier, because now I can actually see how this is just like, once you're privy to all the stuff that you know about UFOs, it's like this is going backwards. And it's like, okay, you're way up here, you know all this stuff, but we got to come way back here to bring the public back up slowly. Even though they've reverse engineered all this stuff, they've been in contact with aliens, and they're acting like, hey, we don't know what these guys are here for.
To the Stars Academy is on the verge of bringing all of us across that threshold together. And I'm excited, frankly, like hell, to be part of this effort with you. Thank you sincerely for your time. Tom?
So again, I don't want to sit here and bash him the whole time, because I do like that aspect. And if I would have had this stuff back in 2001, I would have been on board with it. But I'm so far ahead of knowing all this stuff that this seems like child's play to me now. We're going to move on to Steve Justice. Now, he talks about wanting to build these things, which I got news for you, and I'm sure he knows because he's been in the projects. You built them already. So why do we got to act like we're building them from scratch? What's up with that?
Think about these real people that are involved in this, how they've been impacted by what they've seen, the witnesses that Chris talked about, Lou himself. And I want you to ask yourself, how can I say this is not real? Okay? To me, this makes it real. And that means it can be done. It means it can be done.
It already was done.
So if it can be done, let's trust their position. Okay? And one of the things I want to do is figure out what those technologies are in this observed.
See, this is where it's just a kick in the fucking balls. This stuff's been developed already. Now he's acting like, oh, we don't have anything to do with it, but I want to figure out what it is so we can build it and remake it. What? You guys had this stuff since 1960, and we're starting over?
And I want to build that. I want to build something that absolutely stimulates the imagination. And To the Stars Academy is structured to do just that.
Look in your government black projects.
The science division of the academy is designed to go out and collect the information, connect the dots inside there. Now we're going to be collecting from sources all over the places you heard Lou say.
So we got to collect this information first, figure out what's going on. This is exactly what they've done already. And now they're just dumbing it down for the public to bring them back up. They'll be so far ahead time this gets completed. I don't know I wish I would know what their timeline was, because this just seems like this is going to take fucking forever.
Trying to connect the dots in there in ways that we've never been able to do that before. And the community of interest that Lou referred to is going to be critical for that. And then we want to try to understand exactly what it means. The aerospace division is going to harvest technologies and understanding from the science division. Try to go through and demonstrate the technologies, build prototypes, and even production systems that can change life as we know it.
Again, they have them already, but let's demonstrate this for the public so they can get it through their thick skull, their brainwashed, their fluoride head skull about what's going on. And we need a rock star to bring this out, because they're so dumbed down they can't sit and watch a video for longer than 20 minutes. Their mind goes way off. Actually, I should say shorter than that, probably 2 minutes.
And then finally, there's the entertainment division that
there
Tom
it is.
talked about, where
entertainment.
You will walk this journey with us. You will participate with us.
Got to have the entertainment for the millennials.
We'll inform everyone along the way. We'll provide education, and hopefully inspire you to think about the future in a very, very, very different way. When it comes to shaping the future, one of the greatest obstacles you have is your mind.
It's just, this has been done already. It's like we've had this in the movies, and now we're starting all the way back over. There's been so many movies produced for that very effect, documentaries, all this stuff. Steven Spielberg, they did all this stuff for the public already. Now it's starting over, and let's do it again. He talks about people using Uber. He didn't say Uber. He didn't want to give the company any endorsement, but talks about the cars, how people don't own cars anymore, because why would you own a car if you can call one on your phone? Now he talks about how the future is going to look with that.
Today, there's a generation of people that are not buying cars. They're using on-demand, point-to-point transportation within cities. Why have a car?
Makes sense.
Imagine if that was international. Okay? You could go anywhere on the face of the earth in a matter of minutes. And so now you've removed
Love it.
that parameter of distance and time that separates us from friends on the other side of the earth.
Even though they already have teleporters, but okay, we don't want to go that far. You'll still have to get in a space or a vehicle to get there. Let's keep it manageable for the public. We're not going to tell them about teleportation yet, but okay.
Putting it in a context, if we had this technology today, imagine how quickly we could get supplies where they're needed for natural disasters,
You have it
delivering
already.
directly to neighborhoods.
You have it already. How freaking long are we going to wait? This is so dumbed down. Like I said, I on the surface, I like this. But I go, they had this stuff already. What's going on? It feels like a kick in your gut.
As opposed to having to send them on ships and trucks through this chain of this supply chain to get it to the points where it's actually needed. If you don't think a technology like this can change the future, I want you to imagine this. 15 years ago, well, you don't have to imagine it. 15 years ago, you didn't even know you needed a smartphone. And now you can't live without it. The technology that we're talking about is going to enable a future that is difficult, if not impossible, to comprehend today.
We would have had this already, though.
We're setting the stage. To the Stars Academy is setting the stage for this future.
You're setting the stage
and
already.
defining a future that's very difficult for us to comprehend.
Setting the stage with the blessing of the government. They're going to let you say it how they want to see it. Nothing else. Don't look behind the curtain.
This quote that you see up on the screen right now with the patent office, where the head of the patent office in this report says that there may be we're coming upon the arrival of a period when human improvement must end. How dare we artificially limit our future? How dare we do that? There's going to be a bunch of people that are going to give us all the reasons something cannot be done. We're going to be told this can't be done. We're going to have to expect to hit obstacles, both real as well as created, but we believe in this quest, absolutely. And let's make sure that we're not distracted by those that are living with invisible boundaries.
You guys have this stuff already. Release it.
Thank you so much for your time. I hope you join us on this journey.
So
Just so slow. People are ready. You're going to sit here and push these goddamn carbon taxes. Excuse my language. I'm so pissed off. I didn't expect to get this pissed off, ladies and gentlemen. I originally was going to be more on the endorsement side of this, but it's just a kick in your ass when it's like, you know what they have already, and now they're going to dumb it down, slow it down. It'll be a great future, but we don't want to tell you what's on the other side of this curtain. Now, I want to wrap up the video, and we're going to go through some points, but let's watch the trailer. So millennials get excited about it. That's what this is. It's a dumbed down trailer. Now, let's pay close attention to the words in here, because they do actually say, not directly, but they insinuate aliens, I guess.
Have you ever had the desire to look outward, to the edge of what is known and unknown? We have the chance to do something revolutionary, something that I think has never been attempted before. What if I told you I found a group of like-minded people who held senior positions in the U.S. government, from the CIA to the Department of Defense to the most advanced aerospace engineering groups within our national security establishment. People who have life skills in collecting and decoding elusive information.
You know, Lockheed Martin was the ones that had take in the TR-3B, all that stuff they have already. And now, again, I'm not going to repeat myself.
And they all wanted to do something ambitious, something that could help change the conversation about who we are through an unparalleled search for answers that can propel humanity forward. Today, we are presenting you with To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, a public benefit corporation, the first transparent partnership of its kind between the fields of aerospace engineering, science, and cinematic entertainment, a collaboration with global citizens to explore the outer edges of conventional thinking, targeting the mysteries of the universe and using them to help unify mankind.
Humanity is clustered around a campfire, surrounded by the shadows of an infinite and cold universe. Tom and the others involved with this enterprise want to take torches, stick them in the fire, go on adventures into those shadows to explore those boundary areas and reveal what's there.
That's been done already. Whistleblowers left and right. Let's not talk about that, though. This is just the beginning now, again. Just the start.
Scientists were given resources to investigate the boundaries of traditional theory.
already
We could
were.
finally pull together a unified study from religious scholars, archaeologists, quantum.
This is interesting here, and we're going to talk about this later. So now this is how they're going to want to break the science down. Genetics, warp drive metrics. So people were laughing at you for being kooks that you can't invent warp drives. Now they're saying it's possible. Beamed energy propulsion. They're talking about beaming satellites into space with lasers now. I didn't think they would go this far. Well, actually, there's one more after this. Brain interface computers. Now they want to push the public as being cyborgs. One more. Consciousness. They're talking, and we'll show this later, about telepathy. They want to make telepathy a normal thing now. It's not written. That's funny that they just put consciousness there, because it actually says telepathy in the other documents on his website.
Physicists, and even the most advanced aerospace engineers on the planet.
The truth of the matter is, we now know in our physics, which has been advancing, that something like warp drive is not out of the question.
Of course. You
To
built
the
it already.
Stars represents an opportunity to reach beyond the normal boundaries of aerospace, to create products that you can call them revolutionary, and it's too mild of a word.
I'm very excited about this. I think it's an opportunity for us to take certain topics, whether that's unidentified aerial phenomena or ESP or telepathy, and really get to the bottom of it.
Starting as a
Okay, you did say telepathy. So now they've done this stuff, folks.
that I've always been interested in the actual forefront of physics, right at the edge. These days, standard mainstream physics is really outstripping science fiction.
I was in charge of the advanced aerospace threat that deals with highly sophisticated, unidentified phenomena. In the last 10 years, we've come a long way in our understanding of our place here in this universe. There are physics that we don't quite yet understand. Doesn't mean that they're not real, just simply means that we don't have the capacity yet to understand those physics.
I think we're all frustrated by the fact that our government and conventional science neglects some of the most interesting and provocative and potentially important issues out there.
One of the things that we must do is challenge ourselves to stand in the future and look back to the present. That's the key to breakthroughs. That's the key to changing life as we know it.
I think it's in our nature to go out and explore and report back what we see. The fact is, we might not necessarily be alone.
These things are real. These things are out there. They've been out there for a long time.
So that's definitely a way to push that. The way that's insinuated is yes, aliens are real without saying aliens are real. Why are they scared to say that word? They probably still think people are going to freak out.
The provenance of the government or any government in the world, they belong to us. These are
it's
things that
provenance
happen
of
to
the
people
government.
all the time, and these are things that we need to explore. And
The government's letting you guys do this. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the government letting you do this.
we need finally to get together to figure out what this is all about.
Using state-of-the-art technology, our own advanced research and development programs, and unique storytelling experiences, our goal is to introduce these unconventional subjects and their potential to affect the world.
Develop original movies, TV, books, digital media. We've been doing that for how this stuff has been coming out since the 60s that way. It's like the public knows already. Come on, now we got to slow this down again.
Through a model that innovates, educates, and entertains to present a positive and unifying message to all generations in every country and every belief system that the growth of consciousness that we all desire can start here, right now.
And I truly believe now is a time for us to move forward and finally begin to answer some of life's most deepest mysteries.
We can either crawl forward or we can take that viewpoint and say, okay, let's leap forward. Let's try to get the 25th century science this century.
This is the time that we are inviting you, the public, to help build a paradigm-shifting global movement and to own it with us. Together, we can create a vehicle that pushes us forward, where we can hopefully learn that we are much more special and much more connected to each other than we could ever imagine. We are To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, a public benefit corporation.
So, yeah, I don't want... The message was good there at the end. I'll give them that. This stuff needs to come out. To their credit, they probably have to dumb it down for people and release it slowly. It's just an insult to people like me and you who know this stuff exists already. Like I said, how long is this going to take? He said this century. All right, I want to go through the website real quick because I am running out of time here. This is To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science. Now, immediately, what do we got right here? Investors. As of now, 133 investors, 265,000 raised. They're going to push that investor. Like I said, they have people that are millionaires, billionaires, I should say, that can fund this. $1 million to them is freaking nothing. So why do they want to push that? Probably to try to make the public feel like they have a stake in what's going on. So I highlighted some parts here. To the Stars Academy Arts and Science has mobilized a team. They want to collaborate with citizens to apply the knowledge in a way that benefits humanity. Great, I'm all for that. There is sufficient credible evidence of unidentified aerial phenomenon. We can't use UFO. We got to use a new term now. Unidentified aerial phenomenon that proves exotic technologies exist that could revolutionize the human experience. Yes, we've been saying this stuff for how long? The people that you called kooks back in the day, you know that? So now here's the divisions. We will create 3 divisions. Science, which is the research, aerospace, applying it, building your models, building your prototypes, and entertainment to make sure the public knows about it because they're going to get bored if it's too scientific. So we'll build an accelerated path, transformative discoveries and technology applications, and inspire global citizens through informative entertainment. Got to keep that entertainment in there. So let's break this down. The science, theoretic. Okay, now this is where it backpedals. Kicking the balls, kicking the gut now. Theoretical and experimental laboratory. Okay, we're going to pursue projects which include human extra experience database, engineering, space-time metrics, brain-computer interface, and telepathy. There it is again, telepathy. Stuff that people say you're crazy about. They're saying this stuff's real, it's been here. Okay, let's get some science together, let's study it, and figure out what's going on first. Even though they already have this stuff, let's go ahead and start back over, research this stuff, bring in the direct brain-to-computer interfaces, engineering the space-time metric, developed our next generation aerospace propulsion technologies. You guys have this stuff, just present it. Just present it. Get it out now. No, we got to act like we're researching it first, and then we're going to develop it, and then we're going to bring it out in entertainment first so the public understands what's going on, and then you might have something. So we're probably looking at, like you said, 100 freaking years. Telepathy, ooh, I highlighted this one. Explore the location in the brain where this phenomenon is centered and develop protocols for its enhancement and use. Again, I'm all for this stuff. This stuff should have been out sooner. I thought that was really mind-blowing for them to put telepathy in there, especially since you'd just be talking about technology first. But I guess if they're going to bring all this stuff out and have telepathic interfaces, they're going to have to start explaining that stuff. Let's move on to aerospace. The aerospace division is dedicated to finding revolutionary breakthroughs in propulsion, energy, and communication. Beamed energy propulsion to warp drive metrics. All your friends that were laughing about this being science fiction, it's becoming science fact now. You guys are the ones that are going to lead this because we already knew about this stuff for how long now? We got laughed at. We were called kooks, crazy. Oh, it's going to be brought to light now, ain't it? Concepts for transportation and space flight on land, water, and space. We might step back the space one a little bit, but it's in there. I'll give them credit for that. Beamed energy propulsion launch systems. Develop known methodology to launch small satellites into orbit using ground-based laser beams. That's very interesting. So this is the concept image right here that they want to develop something like this, even though they probably already made it. They know how to make it. This is what happened. They know how to make this stuff already. They got it. And now they have a blueprint. They're going to keep it to the side and they're going to pretend they're doing research. Pretend they're going to release this stuff and say, okay, I'm referring to my old blueprints from 1973 and we're going to build this thing even though we know how it's built already and it's going to work. This is a concept for international point-to-point transportation craft that will ease the current travel limits of distance and time. It mimics the capabilities observed in identified aerial phenomenon. By employing a drive system that alters space-time metric, we have glimpses of how the physics of this works. Oh, we have glimpses. Is that it? You only have glimpses. I think you guys developed it. But we need to harvest technologies from the science division to realize the capability. You guys have this stuff already. As Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, come on, don't bullshit me. Entertainment. Let's move on to entertainment because the millennials can't sit still for 2 freaking seconds because they're so mind warped by all the technology of the cell phone, smartphone. specializing in the licensing and creation of award-winning original content aimed to educate and inspire curiosity and scientific possibilities through various media formats like film, television, books, music, and arts. That's been done already. You guys did this stuff already. So we're going to do it all over again. Again, he talks about his book, Secret Machines, how that was part of his disclosure. I didn't read it myself, folks, but I read the reviews. People said it was a very washed down synopsis about what was going on. We already know all that stuff. So he's got his books. It looks like they're going to bring out Strange Times featured film. And look at the dates on this stuff. Q4 release for the short film. 2018 release. So, I mean, this is going to be a long path yet. So his Academy, To the Stars Academy, strives to be a powerful vehicle by creating infrastructure and resources to rapidly transition them to products that can change the world. So they want to still brainwash the public first before they can bring this stuff out, which this has been going on for so long. Public benefit. Here we go. Boom! Maximizing profit for shareholders. Or that's what you say. Whether it's real or not, maybe you'll take the money and run. It's clear that an expanding portion of the general population is looking to make an impact on the world around them, not only through volunteering or speaking on social media, but through financial decision making. I think you guys have big financial backers, billionaires that can support this, bring this out. We could have this done in a year, but looking at my watch, maybe 100 years, 50 if you're lucky. Join us. So that then they got the people, his crew down below. Of course, Tom DeLonge, president and CEO. He's gonna make sure he's on top here. CIA again. He's in the CIA, National Security. Steve Justice, Skunk Works. He's the Skunk Works guy. He worked on the TR-3B. Probably knows about that. He knows about the SR-74, 75. Don't want to talk about that. That stuff's been out since the 1980s. Don't want to talk about that. Lewis here. Lewis ran a sensitive aerospace threat identification program for focusing on identified aerial technologies. Of course, he was assessing the threat they pose. And Chris Mellon, Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence in the Clinton and Bush administration. God, these guys know a lot of stuff. It's been out already. This guy had a 30-year career at the Central Intelligence Agency. You think they're just letting you know at their will? They're kind of acting like they're going over the government. But I got news for you. They're not. This stuff, this is what they're allowing us to see. So there you go, folks. I don't want to keep rambling on here. I'm saying the same things over and over. I'm sure you're getting tired of hearing me talk. This stuff's already been out. That's another thing I want to mention here real quick. I looked to see if any major news organizations cover this. None have covered it. So how is this slow partial disclosure going to work if the news agencies ain't going to talk about this? It's a small announcement compared to Stephen Greer's in 2001. This is small. So if they're not willing to mention it, so this is going to go under the rate, kind of, it's. I want to say it's a little higher on the radar because you got a rock star who's going to lead the way. But the only decent one I've seen here, there's that couple there. I think Vice had an article in the Huffington Post here. So they say, former manager DoD Airspace Threat Program, UFOs are real. Again, headline, Aerospace Threat Program. They want to keep that subconsciously in the people's subconscious. This one touched on Lewis. Lewis had resigned his position at the DoD literally the day before we met. Interesting. I think this is still part of his job, saying, Lewis, You're going to bring out the disclosure the way we want. We'll see ya. Thank you for your service. You're quote unquote resigned, and good luck. I was able to verify who he was and what his tasks were at the Pentagon. He received the highest commendations from his superiors. I was told that important unclassified data and documents are expected to be released through the Academy's online community of interest, the COI, in collaboration with the U.S. government, of course, which will be set up soon. You got the blessing of the government. We're going to bring this stuff out slowly. I was listening to Grant Cameron. He said there was 6 different people appointed that are trying to do this disclosure, one being Tom Long, the other one being Stephen Greer. Now, you can argue about they only tell them so much, so they think that they're on the front line. So Stephen Greer is obviously anti-government cabal. He knows about that stuff, but maybe they want to run it like that, so he thinks that he's in control. There's just questions to ask here. But that's going to be interesting. So they're going to set up this online database with the blessing of the U.S. government to finally show high quality stuff of, photographs. I'm wondering how, this is probably way down the road, but how they're going to release the bases on the moon. Because we've all seen those blurry ass pictures. Can you release clear ones of those? Or do we got to wait 100 years after this gets released? However, by far the most interesting effort I was involved with was the topic of advanced aerial threats. There it is again. Now, this is in the Huffington Post article, advanced aerial threats. They're still subconsciously pushing that threat. So that really makes me question. I wasn't even going to give this a second thought about the threat aspect. And then I listened to Stephen Greer on Mike Adams' Health Ranger. He interviewed him. And then they said they're still trying to push that threat. And now I see it here. Tom DeLonge's being used for that, whether he realizes it or not. Lewis also stated, we're planning to provide never-before-released footage of real U.S. government systems. Not blurry, amateur photos, but real data and real videos. It only took you a long-ass time. Stephen Justice, how dare we think that physics we have today is all that there is? I agree with that. I knew that from day one. People were laughing at me. You can't go by our conventional thinking because the future is in the future. Not what the hell we have. Steve's objective is to harvest this technology and to build a vehicle that will allow for the most instantaneous travel through land, air, oceans, and space by engineering the fabric of space and time. Such a vehicle could also float, something like from science fiction. So again, we're starting to get that leak. So this is where Corey Good was right. I just wish I just wish it wouldn't take as long as it's going to take. So there you have it, folks. I thought this was going to be it is big. I'll give it that. It's big, but it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be covered on major news networks. I say major, but they really suck. But that's what quote unquote makes it official. If you get CNN to cover it or Fox News or NBC or whatever, all those guys, if they would cover it, I don't understand why they don't, because if the government gave the blessing to do this, maybe they're just trying to bring it out slowly so the millennial kids are going to say, oh, Tom DeLonge, finally he announced this, cool, look at this, and slowly bring it out, and maybe they're going to wait 10 years before it's actually public aware, because the kids will all know because they're going to spread it around that their favorite rock star is into this unidentified aerial phenomenon thing, and then they'll have that knowing finally by then. So there you go. Tell me what you guys think. This video got kind of long. I just wanted to give my take on it. I took a couple days to analyze it, but it just leaves that kick in my stomach. Originally, I was more optimistic when I first saw it, and now I'm like, I got real pissed off because they're lying to you, and this is how they're trying to bring it out. They have this stuff, and it's back and forth, and you can really see that in that video. They say that the technology is there, the government back engineered it. They said that in that, I think Tom actually said it. And then they go back to say, oh, we got to study this thing, figure out how it works. You guys know how this stuff works already. But anyway, tell me what you think. Are you pissed off as I am? I think this really needs to be out sooner. We can't be scratching, like I said. Don't act like you don't have this stuff, and then in the meantime, try to sit here and shove carbon taxes down my ass for being a bad human for releasing carbon dioxide. Release this shit, bring it out, and let's be done with it, because I'm so sick of hearing how bad I am as a human. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. This is Dan Hohlfeld signing off. Talk is cheap. Like, comment, subscribe if you will. Tell me how long you think this is going to take. Do you think it's going to take 100 years? Do you think it's going to take 50? Do you think it'll take 20? It's hard to say. This seems like... half of me thinks it's fast, and the other half says the way they presented it, it's going to be slow. So is somebody else going to come forward and do the same thing? What's one thing, too, I want to mention here. Stephen Greer always talks about setting up an institution where they can make these things and bring them out to the public. How convenient that Tom DeLonge comes out now. Institutions to the stars Academy of Arts and Science to bring the technology out. First we'll research it, bring it out to the public, and bring it through entertainment as well. That's actually kind of Stephen Greer's script when you think about it. So that kind of hit me there as a surprise. I'm Dan Hohlfeld. You guys have a good one.